there will be no more. Welcome to the Last Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Chandler, here with my co-host, Christian Miller. Hello, Christian.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. First episode of the year.
And also the last episode together
Oh, yeah.
for a while.
Before you
Yeah, I gotta go back to school on Sunday, I guess. So this will be our last episode recording in my makeshift home studio together. We'll be back on Zoom or something or another, however we decide to do that. And yeah, like Christian said, this is the first episode of the new year. We took a week off, apart from our banter episode because of the holidays and just trying to, plan around things was a little difficult. And so we decided to take a week off. And it's the first time since August that we've taken a week off, so we kind of deserved it. But this week is going to be the last big Star Wars news, I guess, for a while. We're going to do this episode, which is the future of Star Wars, as you can tell by the title of this episode. And then we're going to kind of take a break from just watching and analyzing Star Wars for a little bit. We've been doing it a lot. We watched every single movie, and we watched the entire season of The Mandalorian, the entire time analyzing it to no end. So we're going to take a little break and do some easy stuff. So next week will be our top 5 favorite characters, which is, super easy. We might have a guest on. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so it's going to be a little lighthearted for the next few weeks. We do have a announcement. Do we want to save this for the end or say at the beginning?
Let's save it for 3/4 of the way through.
Okay, I got it. Okay, we'll save it.
No, just do it now.
Okay, so the big announcement is that our podcast, along with about 30 other podcasts, will be participating in the first annual Star Wars Podcasting Day. It's going to be February the 7th. This is going to be the 22nd anniversary of the very first Star Wars podcast that aired in 1999. This is actually being put on by Star Wars Now This, the guy who runs the website that we talk about in most of our episodes, that is in the description of all of our episodes. He has been contacting all kinds of different podcasts and podcasting hosts to try to get enough podcasts to do this. So we are lucky enough to be part of that group. We will be uploading a special episode on the 7th of February. That's a Sunday, so apart from our normal routine, I guess. We're both very excited, and we have a very special episode planned for that day. It's not going to be like anything we've done before. I think we'll save that, what it is as a surprise for later. It's because it'll be pretty fun. We're excited. If you want to be part of Star Wars Podcasting Day, you can find Star Wars Now This on Instagram, or you can find Star Wars Pod Day on Instagram to get into it, or you can share the hashtag, which is hashtag SWPD2021 on Instagram or Twitter to get the word out about it. So thank you guys for being a part of that and being with us as we support all of Star Wars podcasting. Christian, why don't we talk about the future of Star Wars? Are you ready?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
This is based off of some announcements that came out beginning of December, I think.
Something around there, yeah.
That we couldn't address on the show. I mean, if we had time to do a separate Last Star Wars podcast episode, we would have done it, like a breaking news sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we were focusing on The Mandalorian then, and this is our delayed sort of overview of all the announcements of the future slate of Star Wars projects.
Yeah, I also think it's good that we waited this long, though, because since we've waited, we've gotten, teaser trailers for some things that we didn't have when the announcements came out, and or specifically got, a reel or something, which I don't think was actually from anything new. I think it was all shots from Rogue One, but we did get some more information.
That was all part of the original announcement.
Oh, okay. Well, we did get more information.
But the post-credit scene at the end of the last chapter of
yes,
Mandalorian was something that was after.
Exactly, and we also got more news about Kenobi since the original announcement. So we're going to go over everything in this episode. We'll start off with our animated groups because it's much shorter than our live-action group. And then we'll move on and let you guys know everything that we know which is not a whole lot, but we'll let you know what's coming up and what we do know about it. So, Christian, why don't we start off with some of our animated shows coming up?
All right, so a few months before they released the trailer, we found out that it was going to be a Bad Batch show based off of the characters introduced in season 7 of Clone Wars. Can you name all their names?
No, but there's a sniper. There's one that reminds me of Rambo. There's
the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. There's a really big brute guy. There's a smart one. Yeah, they're basically the Ninja Turtles. But also we got a trailer that reveals that there will be a special character that we also know from live action that is going to be part of this show, which is going to be none other than Fennec Shand will be in this. We don't know in what capacity. She just showed up in the trailer for a very brief moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she'll be in the show, so that's cool.
And, like, there are other characters in the show. Like, we've seen Palpatine in the trailer. There's lots of things that are carrying over from Clone Wars, but on IMDb, the only actors listed are D. Bradley Baker and Ming-Na Wen.
Nice.
So, just the person who does all the clones.
Yeah.
And a bounty hunter.
Yeah. Grand Moff Tarkin will also be in this. He was in the trailer.
Yeah. So it seems like the IMDb is not fully updated. But for the writers, I feel like they would have... There's nothing that comprehensive in terms of the... Like, I'm sure the credit of George Lucas is just because he created Star Wars. I don't think that he's...
Yeah, he's listed on, like, everything.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
And then, I mean, they only have listings for, like, one episode. They don't really have, like, showrunner stuff or anything like that. But, like, Jennifer Corbett is the other writer. So we'll update more information with that sort of crew stuff. She also worked on Star Wars Resistance. So she's got some sort of animation experience, I guess. And she's worked within the Star Wars world. Yeah, I mean, are you excited for this?
Not really. I mean, when I first saw the Bad Batch, because I watched season 7 way after it aired, I was not a huge fan of the Bad Batch, and I was kind of happy when their part was over. We'll have to see. This is one of those shows that's like filling in the gap of something that like maybe doesn't need to be filled in. Yeah. That I think you and I talked about. It's very obvious that this show will be taking place during the I guess transition of power between the Old Republic and the Empire. Because at this point, Grand Moff Tarkin is already part of the Empire. Darth Vader is already there, I guess. And the Bad Batch are officially part of the Empire. So it'll be interesting. I think it could be okay. This isn't something that I was like dying to have, but I think it could be good.
Yeah. I think one of the original announcements of what it was going to be is like they're working either as bounty hunters or like in the black market, because they're not. They're in some way like independent. Like they were able to break free of any allegiance. So like obviously there's no Republic to fight for, and they're not fighting for the Empire, so they just sort of serve themselves. And I don't know. I don't think we need to fill in all these gaps, and especially gaps that are inhabited by characters that aren't interesting, because I didn't find them interesting in their arc.
I think they, like, if they would have stopped their arc after like one episode and been like, oh, these are these guys, I think we would remember them better than if we got a 3-episode arc of these guys who almost had one personality trait each. And it was because, like, one of the things that we like about clones is, they're all the same, but also they all have personalities that are diverse. And, like, Captain Rex is a great military leader, but he also has feelings for his...
Well, it doesn't even have to be, like, you can have, like, one personality trait, but, like, put that clone with a certain sort of angle in their personality and give them an interesting moral dilemma. And then that's compelling, but there are so many other moving parts in that episode that they weren't really the protagonists.
It also felt like they never had a hard time doing anything. It seems like they were way too good at what they were doing to where it was like, oh yeah, I know they're gonna succeed here.
Yeah, And it's like they probably should have just introduced them earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Like it seems like it's too little, too late. And also they had like obviously the Clone Wars is like shelved for a while, so they weren't necessarily working on it from the first time they started to the time where they were finishing up for Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there was room to like rethink their characters and make them more interesting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
We'll see.
We'll see
I mean,
how that works.
another character we know will be in this is gonna be Echo, who is, I think it's Echo, right? Who's picked up by the Bad Batch. They thought he died in an explosion or whatever, but then he ends up working for the Separatists. He's now part of the Bad Batch, as of season 7.
That's probably the most hopeful thing about it is that we have more experience with him as like a very, a character to root for, and he'll probably be the audience stand-in in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I'm also not opposed of getting more Fennec Shand. So.
Oh yeah.
I really like
But
Fennec.
I mean, it's another weird example to where like we're not expected to dwell on it, but it's just kind of, it's a thing where like characters in the Star Wars universe can show up in a variety of eras, and they always look the same, and they don't have any differences with like their perspectives.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this version of Fennec Shand should be like, she should be like Toro Calican, like just a hot shot just starting out.
Yeah,
Which, like,
that would be cool.
I mean, we don't know if that's not, but it seemed like she was like, it seemed like it was her exact like copy of the.
Yeah,
version
she
of
seemed
Mandalorian.
very similar to how she was, which is weird because this is like before the Empire falls, and it seems like she's working with the Empire because it seems like she's working with the Bad Batch, at this point.
Well, it depends on if the Bad Batch are still working with the Empire.
Yeah,
and that
true. That's
a little
that's
bit
true.
of footage we saw.
There is one other animated show that we have, which is The Visions. Is it a show or is it a I think it's a show.
It's a show.
Yeah. It's gonna be like anime style, which is gonna be cool.
Produced by a Japanese studio and sort of, it doesn't seem to have like a canon like goal here.
I don't think it is canon. I think it's.
It seems like it's gonna be like exploring the sort of mystical side of the Force and things like maybe myths or something like that. That like things that don't necessarily things that like sort of don't necessarily follow the logic that people are looking for.
Yeah.
Which I think George Lucas would be proud of, because I don't think George Lucas really cares about logic.
Well, this is one thing that I am excited for, is this Visions show. I'm very excited to see how this turns out. I like that we're getting a new style of Star Wars that hasn't been seen in like the public view. We did mention a few weeks ago that TIE Fighter short film that is anime style, which I thought was awesome. So getting more Star Wars in that kind of style, I think is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a few years ago I would have been really stoked about this, and I don't think there's anything that's come out that makes me not want to see it. My excitement in general has sort of dwindled anyway.
Yeah, because we've been excited for the last movie and the finale of Mandalorian, and both gotten our hearts broken.
Yeah.
But
also, I don't know. We could probably save this for a different discussion, and I don't know how necessary it is, how much we want to get real about it, but like, there's a separate discussion to have about like just us growing up and like recontextualizing our sort of relationship with fandom, and like
that might be like a whole podcast episode.
Yeah.
There.
Sort of just dwelling on like, do we want to be in this space forever?
Yeah, we'll have to see. That'll be a whole nother conversation for another day. I don't think we have time for that on this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Visions, I would say yes to wanting to see. I think it's gonna be a yes or no for everything, and for Visions.
Let's keep track, because we had some interesting stuff about Bad Batch, but overall it's a no from us.
I think it's a no from Bad Batch, but for Visions, I will say yes.
Yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay, cool. Now there's gonna be some other ones in here that we've already talked about that we will have different opinions on, that I know. But we'll start off with the one that we kind of know the least about, and that's gonna be Rangers of the New Republic. This is going to take place during the time of The Mandalorian, during the time of the Ahsoka show.
Basically, they're kicking off a Mandoverse.
Yes. And it will end with a crossover episode between The Mandalorian, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka. There will be a huge crossover episode at the end of this thing. We have a guaranteed cast member, or the character of Carson Teva will definitely be in this. Cara Dune by default will probably be in this. She gets recruited at the end of The Mandalorian to be part of the New Republic. So she'll probably be in this. And then there's been a lot of rumors that Cobb Vanth will come back as a member of the Rangers of the New Republic. I'm not really sure what it's about, to be honest. Like, I've read a few articles about what people think it's about, and it's all over the place. I think the general consensus is it's a bunch of people, fighting for the New Republic and being, like, policemen for the New Republic, I guess, or whatever Carson Teva was doing in The Mandalorian. That's kind of what, their job is. So I think it'll be smaller scale, probably. Little skirmishes on planets with, like, small gangs or something like that. I
feel like it could be easy. Like, they could ease that into, like, the startings of the New Republic, though. I mean, the First Order.
They could, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm against this whole, like, crossover thing. I don't really want it to happen.
Yeah, I don't like the crossover. I do not.
Because, like, when Mando first came out, I was like, oh, this is all we know so far. We're just doing a show, and it's a different thing. And so I figured that the other shows they would do would have a similar effect to where, like, oh, this is this other thing.
Yeah. But
I guess it's cheaper to, yeah, that's the thing, though. All of this is it's economic.
Yeah,
in a way,
it's turning into Marvel in a way. I think is what you told me at one point.
Which is what Marvel does the same thing. Where
yeah.
It's like they figured out the technology. They know how to optimize all these different things, and like technology wise, and then you have the same actors. You have the same general format, so you don't have to spend a lot of time rethinking how you're gonna do a project, and you can just churn it out much more quickly. Mm-hmm. You can do it in, like, less than a year, which is crazy for a season of this caliber of television.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's got me less excited, I guess.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all. We don't even have a release date for Rangers of the New Republic. I think they said sometime between 2022 and 2023 is going to be when this comes out. But overall, I'm going to give it a no. It's a no from me, as Simon Cowell would say.
It's tough because I like Carson Teva a lot.
I do too.
I love Cobb Vanth.
As a character, I like even Cara Dune. So, I mean, I think the characters are good, but I don't like the whole we're crossing over with everything and it's going to connect and it's all going to make sense and it's going to be the same thing as The Mandalorian, but without Mando.
And I don't know. This is a thing that they were trying to do with a Star Wars story, sort of anthologies or whatever.
Yeah.
Where they had their original pitch for a Han Solo project and a Boba Fett project was you do one movie from either of their perspectives, and it ends with their standoff. So you have they were gonna have, before there was like anything was like finalized with the script for Han Solo, they were thinking about doing a Han Solo movie. It ends with him standing off against Boba Fett. I don't know if it was gonna be a cliffhanger or if it was gonna be like, I don't know if it's setting up a crossover or if you're gonna see the same ending with different characters' perspectives.
That would be cool. I would like that if you saw.
I don't think we can do it now.
No, I mean no, you can't. But like that would have been cool if they would have done like. Although as much as I like Solo, I still think it would have been a cool idea if they both ended at the same moment, but they ended at a moment that we've seen in another show before. Maybe it's like how they got there. I don't know.
Yeah. And so that feels like a sort of like that the idea didn't even feel very Marvel to me at the time.
Mm-mm.
Then this seems more like a Marvel thing.
It
felt like just like a Western sort of trope. I was already picturing their standoff or whatever.
The new Marvel shows are feeling more like Star Wars spin-offs now because like with WandaVision and all that, like they're very much their own thing from what we can tell, and they're not crossing over.
I think everything I've heard about WandaVision is that it's like a really good, like, different take, and then it's bringing new styles.
Mm-hmm.
But I've also heard so many things about like Scarlet Witch is like, I mean, I love Scarlet Witch being like more important in the universe, but
Yeah.
she's like becoming a centerpiece in a way that's like the writers are like collaborating with the other writers of like so many other movies that could easily be standalone. Like she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be in Doctor Strange,
Oh.
and Doctor Strange, like Multiverse of Madness, like that's supposed to be like this altering sort of huge thing.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man apparently has something to do with this. Like,
Yeah. There's gonna be all 3 of the Spider-Men in it.
yeah, and so like it's probably gonna be the same thing as Mandalorian, where it starts off as a simple
yeah,
offshoot.
probably.
It kicks off so many other things.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. So what is it from you? Yes or no? Rangers of the New Republic.
No.
Okay, I figured. Just had to get the definitive no from you. All right, our next show that we have that is a guaranteed show, is gonna be Ahsoka. This will be directed by Dave Filoni, starring Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, and it's going to take place during the time of the Mandalorian and the time of Rangers of the New Republic. There's a lot of speculation here about what's going to be going on and how people are doing stuff. Christian, what do you think is going to be the main plot point of Ahsoka?
Finding Ezra and Thrawn, basically. I think there's so many different headlines in Star Wars, I can't even tell which ones like came from who and if they're true or not. But I'm pretty sure it was just confirmed that it's about Ezra.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Sabine was confirmed. I don't know.
I have no clue if Sabine was confirmed, but I know that most people are under the assumption that because Ahsoka at the end of Rebels is going to go work with Sabine to find them, that Sabine will probably be in it. I would not doubt it. I would love to see Sabine in live action. I think it would be very cool. This is actually probably one of the shows that I'm more excited for. I like Ahsoka. I really like Ahsoka. And having just come off watching Rebels, I'm excited for this, kind of plot point of figuring out where Ezra is and where Thrawn is. I do think that the entire point of her being in The Mandalorian was so that she could, tell us what her show was about. In that way, she is looking for Admiral Thrawn in The Mandalorian. So I'm thinking that's probably what her show is going to be about, mostly. If it spins off into something else like every other show will, probably. Have you heard anything else about this that I don't know of? Are you as excited to see Ahsoka?
I'd be excited if it was animated, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I wish it was animated. But, you don't always get what you ask for.
So basically, okay, so in the Sky Talkers podcast that I listen to, I've mentioned a lot of times on this show, they have a saying that goes, look to the animation department for the future of Star Wars. And
Yeah.
to me, I always took that as ideas around the Force and little like canon details, like all these cool things about Star Wars are brought out first in the shows, and then we see them pop up in movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that a lot of the sophisticated storytelling that we get in the sequels, for example, or Solo or Rogue One, wouldn't be there without Clone Wars and Rebels and,
Yeah.
and eventually Resistance. I think will have some sort of influence. But I always took that as like animation is just great, and it's an underrated medium, and we wouldn't be here without it. I didn't think that. I never saw that saying as a way of looking at it of like they're just gonna take things from animation and put them in live action and dilute them.
Yeah,
and make them accessible so that more people watch them.
Yeah, I think you're definitely you're limited to what you can do in live action, working with human actors and everything like that. Instead of animation where you can literally do anything. But I don't know. I feel like more people see animation as a kid's show. And like that's a big thing. People think that Rebels and Clone Wars are kid shows, which yeah, they are, but they're good also. Like when I first started watching Rebels, I was like, this is more of a kids show than Clone Wars, but I like it just as much.
Mm-hmm.
I think people need to get off their high horse and realize that it's okay to watch a kids show because Star Wars is ultimately made for children. George Lucas has said it himself. Star Wars is made for children.
And you don't have problems in animation of like, oh, the tendrils are creased. We don't have a sophisticated enough form of styrofoam so that this makeup can work. It's just like you just draw a few lines and you move it. I mean, that's a simplification. I know. Animators
it's
listening.
much more difficult.
But I guess it's more difficult. But it's like it's at the end of the day, it's always gonna look the way you want it to look.
Yeah, and you can also do this thing where it's like, hey, this original version of this, her Leku aren't long enough. Let's just tweak this really quickly and make her Leku longer. You can't do that in live action. You can't make these adjustments after the fact.
Yeah.
If you don't like something.
Also, it's directed by Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did a lot of stuff with animation that I enjoy, and I sort of point to as like really important. But like,
he created Ahsoka.
I don't know. I think he already got an ego, and I feel like it's gonna continue to get bigger and bigger. Like, we're not gonna talk about Luke, but like we're not gonna talk about. But like, the fact that Luke and that ending for the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It feels like he's really shifted his focus.
I don't know, that episode was written by, most of the writing's done by Favreau for Mandalorian. So, I would more blame Jon Favreau for that than Dave.
Filoni's long been the guy that's put him in check.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy with the Star Wars knowledge.
Yeah. I think at one point George Lucas has even said that Dave Filoni knows more about Star Wars than he does. Because Dave Filoni has created most of what we know as or pretty much everything.
That'd be an interesting thing to compile. Like, who has directed the most hours?
Oh, it's Dave Filoni by far, because he's done all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels. He's done most of he's done some Mandalorian. He's now going to do Ahsoka.
You can go into other crew members as well. Like, you can look at, like, Dennis Muren, he did, like, special effects.
Yeah.
Or, like, John Knoll. Mm-hmm. Like, or like Anthony Daniels.
What's the pink shorts guy? The boom mic guy? Who was in, like, he did the boom mic for every movie.
I don't know how many movies he did.
Dude, he did, I know he did the entire original trilogy, because there was wherever they filmed Tatooine at that I can't remember, he was sitting there with nothing on but pink shorts holding a boom mic. And that picture went viral in, like, as soon as the internet came out and, that picture was released. He is now pink shorts guy. He also just passed away, which sucks. So, along with all the other Star Wars people that passed away, pink shorts guy. I don't actually remember his name, which is kind of sad. But, yeah, Dave Filoni has done a lot of Star Wars and created most of what we know as the extended universe. So, for Ahsoka, I will say yes. I don't think it's bad enough for me to say no, but, I'm a little hesitant because, it's live action. So I'll say yes.
I mean, I'm not sure. Because, it's very possible that I cancel Disney Plus after WandaVision. So I don't know if I'm going to go get it back or not or whatever.
Would you watch it on my account? If I gave you my account information, would you watch it? Yes, no?
I guess if I had to do a podcast about it. But
Which
that would set a precedent, though. Like, if you gave me if you gave me your password, and I just had it on, and it'd be the same thing, and I'm just like, what if I got into something else?
Listen, you already did this with HBO Max. You used my account to watch Wonder Woman, and then you watched something else on it without realizing that you were using my account.
That's the thing, though, is like that's like a. Like, after doing a podcast about The Mandalorian, you get tired of just Disney as a brand. You don't want to think about Disney.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what's going on in DC or whatever?
Yeah.
Or I'm watching the Boondocks. Like,
yeah.
Talk about animation could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
The Boondocks.
Now, I say that, but I'm also not upset that you're using my HBO Max because I let you log into it for a reason. So don't think that I'm upset with you for you know.
Wait, is there a reason beyond watching Wonder Woman that night?
No, there wasn't, but you like watched something else on it that you told me like the next week. You're like, I totally forgot I was logged into your account, and I started like watching this show on HBO Max.
It's an excuse for me to like brag about my taste to you, so I can be like, hey, I know you have this
Because I'm using your.
This belongs to you technically.
Yeah.
So do this.
Yeah, but I am saying I'm not mad at you, so don't think that I'm like getting on to you for that. All right, so I think the next show here is probably the one that we know the most about. I'm gonna say, this is the Andor series, gonna be directed by Toby Haynes. He directed a few episodes of Doctor Who and a few episodes of Sherlock. And has done some other stuff, mostly TV shows. So again, Cassian will be played by Diego Luna, from Rogue One. This will be a prequel to Rogue One, obviously, because Cassian dies. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Rogue One yet. Let's see what else. It will take place 5 years before Rogue One. And it will probably be about how he became the soldier he is. We're not really sure. I think we had mentioned beforehand that we kind of wanted it to be not necessarily a bounty hunter story, but like just almost him doing whatever it is he can to get by.
The morally gray aspect of the rebellion.
Yeah. Doing whatever he can to get by to help save the rebellion.
Yeah. Since we did our like fall episode of the future of Star Wars, we've since gotten like a mixture of a featurette behind the scenes sort of thing mixed with like a animatic. So like they had like interviews about creature effects, and they're putting in the same amount of work they would do for a movie to like make all the aliens.
Yeah.
It's being produced in London. So that means that, what does it mean? It means that maybe they're not using the volume.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. They could be doing some on location stuff. I know most the sequels are all predominantly made in England.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. Is because the creature shop or whatever is already there.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
It's possible that they're building another volume there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they could.
And Rogue One especially, I remember this. There's a scene on Scarif inside like the Imperial facility that they shut down a London train station.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It might not have been London, but like it was an English train station that like they used like 2 nights from like 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah, you told me about that. That was cool.
And redressed it, made it look Imperial.
Yeah. We have gotten a kind of release date for this. We have spring of 2022. Somewhere around there, this will be coming out.
Partially delayed. It was delayed because of coronavirus. Right?
Yeah, I think it was supposed to come out the beginning of 2022 or the end of 2021. Yeah. Something like that. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I like Cassian, and I would like to see his backstory. Again, they could go. I like these little offshoot stories, like not connecting it with everything else, but also it's probably going to connect with everything else in some way. But even with all that, I will say yes to Andor.
It's especially because it was announced before all this stuff got really big.
Mm-hmm.
We were already on board with this sort of gap to be filled.
Yeah.
But we weren't asking for more gaps to be filled.
No, but I do like Andor. I will say yes to this. We've already started coming up.
K2SO and
sort
of the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, we've already started coming up with a name for our series about Andor. We have Mornings with the Mandalorian, which is an alliteration. We're thinking of doing an alliterative name for Andor. So if you have any ideas, you can send us a DM or an email telling us what you think our name should be. We've already gotten a few suggestions on Twitter.
Candor for Andor.
What does that mean?
I forget what candor means. I think it's probably in a bunch of hymns or something.
Why don't you look it up while I talk about our next show that we have here, which is the one that I am most excited for, Kenobi. And I know that's really stereotypical to be like, oh, I'm so excited for Kenobi, but I am, okay? This will be directed by Deborah Chow. What does candor mean?
The quality of being open and honest in expression. Frankness.
That's perfect.
Candor for Andor.
That's kind of perfect because we're gonna be way too like blunt with the.
We got it. Plus C Andor, Cassian Andor, the letters
Yeah,
all.
yeah, I like that. Okay.
That's great. And
Anyway,
we don't have to do another like breakfast theme thing. We can do a different logo with it.
yeah, we can.
I don't know.
So yeah, if you guys also if you're not on Spotify, you wouldn't know this, but we kept our Mornings with the Mandalorian logo and started that if you look at all of our Mornings with the Mandalorian episodes on Spotify, that logo will show up instead of the Last Star Wars podcast logo. So it's easier. I'm sorry, Apple Podcast listeners. Apple Podcast for some reason doesn't work like that.
Yeah. They're behind so many years.
That's not our fault. That's Apple's fault. You can take it up with their human resources. Anyway, Kenobi, directed by Deborah Chow. She directed both The Sin and The Reckoning in The Mandalorian. She also directed Jessica Jones, the Netflix Marvel show. The biggest news that we have is that this takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So Anakin has been Darth Vader for 10 years, and Hayden Christensen will be returning to play Darth Vader. Meaning that we'll probably get a face-off between Anakin and Obi-Wan again. And Christian, I don't know if you've heard anyone make this connection, but when Obi-Wan and Anakin face off in A New Hope, he said you shouldn't have come back here, implying that Obi-Wan may have been there before. So there's been a lot of speculation on the internet about that maybe we'll see Obi-Wan on the Death Star, confronting Darth Vader, once there. We also have a small rumor that Tamara Morrison might be in this as Commander Cody. I don't know why people want Commander Cody in this, but he definitely did not have his inhibitor chip taken out. So what do you think about the Tamara Morrison as Commander Cody rumor? Yes, no? Do you agree?
I would like some expansion on his character in terms of I want full permission to hate him. You know?
To hate Tamara Morrison?
No, Cody.
Oh, yeah.
Because like it felt like this automatic thing in Revenge of the Sith, especially considering like the Clone Wars wasn't out yet when Revenge of the Sith came out. So you're not really seeing this obvious connection. So I want to be able to see like we're past the point where he's like shocked that he's doing these actions, and I think it'd be cool to see him just like owning up to like hating Jedi or whatever.
Yeah, so you think he will not be on the side of Kenobi, he'll be on the Imperial side of this. Yeah.
We've already had we're already sort of in the process of doing a bunch of like clones that made it out of the chip and whatever. So one that I feel like Cody's the one guy that one individual that we have to sit with the fact that he got turned.
Yeah, because we definitely know that he did not get it out because he did shoot down Kenobi off of the what's it called?
Fractal.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm excited for this show. We've also started coming up with names for our show with this. We're also trying to make it alliterative, or at least, almost rhyme or have the same letter. We don't know. Coffee with Kenobi's not good because it's too much like breakfast related, like Mornings with the Mandalorian.
It also already exists.
Oh yeah, it does exist.
That's why we had to mark it out.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really hard to come up with a name nowadays. So we'll figure that out. I think this is a pretty easy yes or no on this one. Also, this is gonna be 6 episodes that are gonna be between 45 minutes and an hour long a piece, I think.
Because I remember it was on my birthday in 2016 or whatever, they announced that it was going to be a movie.
Yes.
And it would be a Star Wars story. But it wasn't from Star Wars, it was just a report that there was a writer and director attached. And as we discussed with the Han Solo Boba Fett thing and all these, the sort of impetus for all this streaming stuff, they've shifted everything around. And yeah, we're getting a 6-hour long movie basically.
Yeah, and it's supposed to only be one season, so it'll be like a one-time
limited series.
Limited 6-episode series. Which I think that's the best way to do this. Would be Yeah, so I'm gonna say a big fat yes for Kenobi. I like this a lot.
I'll say yes, even though I have hesitations because of Darth Vader. I guess
Mm-hmm.
like I mean I don't really like Darth Vader in Rogue One, like, and also the precedent that's set because of Luke and Mandalorian, like
Yeah,
like. But that's the thing. I already was already sold on like positive things about the show. That
yeah,
like just because there's negative things are possibly gonna happen doesn't mean those positives aren't gonna be
yeah.
there.
There's been more rumors that the couple who played Owen and Beru in, um, was it Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith will be in this as
Yeah.
Owen and Beru, and that they may or may not cast a young boy to play Luke in. That's guaranteed. I think you have to see Luke in a Kenobi show that takes place during this time. Even if it's just like a, hey, look, there he is.
Well, I'm even more negative
Really?
because I don't think you need to be that precious about this character at all levels of the timeline. I mean,
True.
Last Jedi is the only thing that's like really dealt with Luke in a complex and interesting way, and at the same time, seen Luke as just like it's not all about Luke. There's so many other kids, so many other people that
Yeah.
can relate to him. That's why Broom Boy is significant because it's just anyone.
Yeah.
Like I feel like all the stories should represent that in a way where like because you know how when Disney first got Star Wars and like it felt like now the fans were making the movies rather than
Mm-hmm.
Lucas. But you would think that fans making all these movies and shows, that what would come through with that is that the stories are about these little people who don't feel like there's anything significant about them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like they're coming into the story not in like a carbon copy way of Luke, but like just that like we don't have to go back to those characters. We can just like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
Like there's so many other people like Luke that maybe didn't they could focus on a character just like Luke, but he doesn't have the Force,
Mm-hmm.
or he has the Force, but he doesn't have X or whatever. Maybe he's like got the Force, but he's still not a really good flyer at all. Or I don't know, just
Yeah.
like, or like doesn't have to be a man, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
like I hope it's just a really meditative, cool thing about Obi-Wan being sad and stuff. I hope
Yeah,
that's the
I think
focus.
so too. Is that a yes from you then?
Sure. I mean, yes to certain projects, but
Half-hearted yes.
overall no to Star Wars in general, though.
Understandable. We have how many more shows? 3 shows left. We're not going to be talking about any of the movies. We talked about those in our last Future of Star Wars episode, and we haven't really gotten.
Except for one,
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about one.
Rogue Squadron. Can we
Yes.
just get into it?
Yes, I totally forgot this was a movie and not a show. Other than Rogue Squadron, we'll not be talking about any of the big movies. If you want to go listen to our last Future of Star Wars episode, we talk about the limited knowledge we have and who's directing what. But yeah, Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins, who recently did Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 2.
I just realized I had a dream. It was sometime this week. I had a dream that the Ryan Johnson trilogy was like confirmed.
Really?
Like it was a formal announcement.
That's awesome.
I realized that's a lie.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, something to be excited about is this Patty Jenkins movie.
Yes, Patty Jenkins, who recently directed Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 2. She has said, and I quote, "The story will introduce a new generation of starfighter pilots as they earn their wings and risk their lives on a boundary-pushing high-speed thrill ride and move the saga into the future era of the galaxy." She also said that she is seeking out to make the best fighter pilot movie ever. So, I'm really excited for this. I really like Patty Jenkins as a filmmaker, and I think that this movie has a really good chance of being.
It's content.
Good.
We're supposed to refer to all of this as content.
Okay, it's content. I'm sorry.
I say that facetiously. I hate that word.
The rumor is that this will take place after Rise of Skywalker. By the way.
Cool. I don't know.
Not that that means anything.
It does because yeah, I'm excited for that because I don't want original trilogy worship, I guess. But even the ships though, for the sequel era, were so closely modeled after the original trilogy
Yeah.
that like it's not gonna feel that much different.
Yeah. We do have a pretty guaranteed date of release on this. This is, if nothing goes wrong between now and then, our scheduled release date is December 22nd, 2023. Again, if nothing goes wrong, which something's bound to go wrong, so it's probably going to be pushed back to early 2024 if I had to guess. But yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. Just to see a movie about fighter pilots, strictly only about that, or at least that's the main point. Patty Jenkins has also said that she is taking inspiration from the video game and from the books, but it will not be a direct copy of either.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for this. This might be the thing that I'm most excited for. It's either this or Kenobi. I'm gonna say big fat yes to this one as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have no reservations about this. I feel like this is gonna be great.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And it's also worth noting that it's gonna be releasing around Christmas, so we're gonna have another like Christmas time Star Wars season sort of thing.
Yeah,
again.
That'd be cool. All right, we have one more. Two more shows.
No, we don't. We got two. You kind of messed up on the.
I'm sorry. I know I missed some, but you can
don't
hold me accountable.
We both messed up because I didn't help you. I should have helped you.
It's fine. We have what was announced at the end of the Mandalorian, season 2, this year. We have the Book of Boba Fett coming out December of 2021. Tamura Morrison and Ming-Na Wen playing Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. Do you think this is gonna push back release of Mando season 3? People seem to think so, but I think they'll just do Mando between August and December, and then, or like, September and early December, and then right after that, drop Book of Boba Fett. I don't think they're gonna push back Mando season 3 just for this, or they might. Who knows?
I'm not too concerned with it, honestly.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like the Book of Boba Fett's gonna come before Mandalorian, though, right? I don't know.
I have no clue.
It seems like something that they want to get us up to speed on before we go into the consequential, liberation of Mandalore. It seems what it's going to be, or battle for the Darksaber or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. We don't know anything about this other than Boba Fett just took over Jabba's palace from
Bib
Fortuna. I'm gonna say a no for this.
Yeah, it's a general no, even though I like the image of Boba Fett on the throne and Ming-Na Wen.
Also, I like Boba.
Shan by his side.
As much as I love Boba Fett, I don't want this show.
Yeah, I think they did the most interesting version of Boba Fett in this show, in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But I just never that much of a fan of him anyway, and it just sort of went from negative to neutral.
Yeah, understandable. I've always really liked Boba Fett. I like Mandalorians in general and bounty hunters a lot. So, I was kind of excited about this, but I'm going to say no for this.
If you'd have liked the ending of season 2 anyway, what if season 2 ended perfectly, and then they still gave you this scene? Would you be excited?
Probably. Let's be honest.
It would be like icing on the cake, as opposed to all right, if you didn't like that, just ignore it. Here's this. Is it good?
Yeah, I think so. Another show we have coming up, the Lando Calrissian show, just called Lando though. It might be Donald. It's probably gonna be Donald Glover.
Donald Glover, man.
But there's been rumors of flash forwards to Billy D. Williams, and
it's too early to tell. But we know
who knows?
Writer and/or director is Justin Simien, who he did the movie Dear White People, and then he created the show Dear White People with Netflix, and that was the first show where I was turned on to the idea of standalone episodes.
Yeah.
and like still an overarching narrative, but like really doing something fun about one character in one episode, and then
Mhm.
going like he did it in such a creative way. Even like sort of like shooting scenes, like the same exact scene from one character's perspective, and then the next episode you see that scene from a different character's perspective. He's got a real sense of like fun with characters, and I feel like he's perfect for Lando.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he's a lot of his work deals with being a gay man, being a gay man of color, and like he's very like upfront about it in at least the show and the movie, and Lando already is sort of confirmed as being pansexual, so I feel like I wouldn't doubt it if he was touched on that, if he touched on that and like made it more explicit in the show. So that's interesting. And yeah, I mean I'm really excited for the show. And
Yeah.
I hope Donald Glover makes some little music for it.
Yeah.
Or if he collaborated with Ludwig Göransson, something like that. I mean, we keep saying that we want Ludwig Göransson to be like a band leader in the universe of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like if Lando or if Donald Glover contributed in a similar way, I don't know. Or if they did like a hip hop side piece, sort of inspired by the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna say big yes to this. Love Donald Glover. I love Lando. Let's do it. Is there anything else?
Do
we forgot to write?
Do you
down?
have any like expectations for the timeline? Like, do you think do you think that this is like in a different time? This would have been a solo Star Wars story like sequel. Except it's about Lando.
Yeah,
but
I think
now
so.
that everything's streaming, that this is how they're doing it, or
I think so. I think it's probably going to take place right after Solo, right after he leaves, or right after he gets the Falcon taken from him, and he has to deal with that. Or it could be a prequel about. Although I don't know, Lando kind of sucks before that point.
Well, if it was a prequel though, then we would get Phoebe Waller-Bridge as L3.
Yeah, we would.
So that would be cool.
It would be.
But
we'd also get really sucky Lando. I guess he's always kind of sucky.
Yeah, he's always just sort of a selfish guy, and he's not like he like got really good at the end of Solo.
Yeah, he did that.
Like I would really love.
He did get kind of put in his place though.
It's possible that they're gonna just give us both. Like if we got to see some L3, but then we also get like an episode with Han.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
That's probably what's gonna happen. So yeah, big yeses from both.
Based on the logo, it's very like 70s, which is a lot of sort of the aesthetic that Lando has with his capes and everything.
Yeah.
I hope it's very bright and colorful and just a lot of cool visuals in the show. Yeah. I hope it goes to a lot of parties.
I like it. I like the idea of just everything in this show. Yeah. I'm very excited.
And then lastly, I'm not sure if we have a date for this or not, but Star Wars Acolyte, show run by Leslie Headland.
Oh yes, we do not have a date for this yet.
Which we basically talked about this in the first future Star Wars.
We just didn't have a name for it.
Yeah, we finally got a name and a premise for it. And it's basically about. It's before the prequels, I think, and there's speculation that it's sort of dealing with the High Republic in a not in a direct way, but like it's gonna make sense for viewers to be if they were reading the High Republic and like check this show out, it would sort of bridge things or whatever.
Yeah. And
it's exploring. Oh, it's in the final days of the High Republic era. So yeah,
that's cool.
That's what it says on IMDb, and it's shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers.
Cool.
It's got a really cool Sithy logo. There's a lightsaber slash to the words.
Nice. Let me see. I haven't seen the logo yet.
I trust Leslie Headland, so.
Yeah, I like it. It looks cool.
Really excited for this.
All right.
We don't have a lot of information, but we've talked about her stuff on the last version of this series, I guess. We're excited for what she does, and it's one of those things, like one of those original sort of necessary things that we want in the Star Wars universe.
Big excite. I think that's a big yes from both of us.
Big excite.
Yes, big excite. Is that all of our future stuff?
There's another animated project.
Oh, there is.
Star Wars: A Droid Story.
I forgot about this.
So we're getting. It's not. So Anthony Daniels is not done with C-3PO.
Yes.
It's the return.
Yes.
And I think the premise is that they're leading some character on a journey. I'm not sure if it's a Jedi or not, but
Anthony Daniels.
so
So this will officially be his last.
he's probably gonna do more.
No, probably yeah.
He might be in the Bad Batch. He might be in. I don't know.
He might be in Kenobi. Where is he? No, C-3PO.
He could be
might.
in Andor.
Yeah, he could.
Because the Rebel Alliance.
He might be in Kenobi if Kenobi comes in contact with Organa. Who knows?
Doubt that.
But I doubt that.
Oh no! Wait, it wasn't Jimmy Smith. Was Jimmy Smith? Jimmy Smith was announced for Andor, I think.
Yeah.
I doubt he's gonna be in Kenobi.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, Anthony Daniels. I'm gonna say a half-hearted yes to Droid Story. Yes, because I really like Anthony Daniels and C-3PO. Half-hearted because it might be bad.
I think it will definitely be aimed towards children.
Yeah.
And so it'll be a thing where like, I guess this is good, but it's not for me. So, but just because of like time management and like investment in Star Wars in general, it's a no from me.
Okay.
Because I'm not really gonna have that, which feels bad because it's animated.
Yeah.
But it's not really like the story that I'm interested in animation. So
Understandable. So yeah, that's it.
all this is subject to change. Our opinions are fluid.
Oh, absolutely.
If there's like
Our opinions on whether we wanted a Jedi in the Mandalorian changed week to week.
Yeah.
Or at least mine did.
And like, it's easy to be like, do we need all this when we're just looking at logos and titles? But then there's always gonna be a time where like a trailer comes out or something,
Or we just watch it and we like it.
Or a meme gets started, and it's like, you know what, I do need to see this.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person anymore. Like, you know, I don't want to feel this compulsion to be so invested in this anymore.
Yeah.
But it's possible that my interests will change based off of the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, that's it. That's everything coming up that we know about. That isn't just a rumor. So thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Last Star Wars Podcast. If you guys want to go find us on Instagram, I am spncr.c. Christian is Mr. Kriller. You can also find our podcast page on Instagram and Twitter at Last Star Wars Pod, and on Facebook, the Last Star Wars Podcast. We also have a YouTube channel where we post all of these episodes, except for our banter episode because I forgot. And that's the Last Star Wars Podcast on YouTube. Once again, if you want to find any other Star Wars podcasts, you can go to StarWarsNowThis.com. It has a huge variety of different podcasts about all different parts of Star Wars. And once again, if you guys want to be a part of Star Wars Podcasting Day, or just if you want to help get the word out, you can use the hashtag SWPD2021 on Instagram or Twitter, or go and DM Star Wars Pod Day on Instagram to get more information. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.